Steve Evans. Motor Madness is up next live, and what a series this is. Last Friday night, we were in Knoxville, Iowa, covering the most expensive high-tech dirt track cars in all the world. Tonight, from Reno, Nevada, is the ultimate in low-tech, the Western States Smash-a-Thon, and I love it. You could buy one of these demo derby cars for what it costs for a right rear tire on a Sprinter. In Iowa, I never heard one driver use the word fun, and they never ran into each other on purpose. Around here, all they can talk about is how much fun they're going to have doing exactly that. And if you think I'm pumped up, Bob Fry's fun meter is on the red line.
Steve, these things are so exciting that even the people in the TV truck who like to be, how can I put this, usually away from everything and in a quiet location, want to be as close to this action as possible. Now, this has created kind of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is everybody involved with the Demo Derby here on Motor Madness wants to be on TV. So they come over and they're like part of the action. Now, the bad news is that if we don't do a good television show, these folks will let us know about it in a hurry. Oh, by the way, Eli Gold, next time you're doing a Winston Cup race, let's see you try this.
Well, they drive the thing backwards, turn by backwards, 80 mile an hour, plowing into your rear end. When he's behind the wheel, he ain't got no friends. You better tie up your seatbelt, so it don't melt. Better get ready. Ooh, that looks like it's stung. Congratulations, you just got your bell rung by Bondo Jones. Accident prone, born in a Buick that was hit head on. It's the Demolition Derby man. He's all the wreck one car can stand.
From the Nevada State Fair, it's the Western States Smash-a-Thon, live here on TNN. You know, Reno will always be known as the biggest little city in the world, but it's gaining a separate identity as a city of champions due to the number of high-profile events that take place here year-round. From time to time tonight, we'll spotlight some of those, bring you 4 features and a main event smash-a-rabba and highlights, Bob Fry, of a crazy Canadian event.
Yeah, some people think that might be redundant, but we're going to take a look at the Pacific National Exhibition, the Bash for Cash, which features all kinds of neat stuff like this. The rollover, the record 4.5 times and still going. Somewhere out there, Joey Chitwood saying, hey, that's my gig. Also, the triple-decker, the blackout, and all kinds of really neat stuff. Plus, we'll tell you about the Canadian National Champion Team, which will be on the Intergalactic Crunch-Off later on this year.
Okay, right now, let's go to Charlotte and catch up with Katie Haas and Steve Burns on our Motor Madness home base. And, Katie, did you get all of that Knoxville dirt out of your hair yet from last Friday night, kid?
I don't think so. It's still in my ears, my mouth, my nose. It's, you know, all over the place. But that was a big time, and I'm glad I wasn't there Saturday night. Big tornadoes.
Oh, man.
Horrible weather. But this, another day, another show. It's Motor Madness for you Friday night. Prepare to get wrecked tonight. That's what we're going to do for you. The
smashed even.
Bash, trash, whatever you want to call it. We're into it because we've got a great show. The demo derbies are back. Plus, we're going to bring a couple of drivers who know what they're doing. They've done this before, and they've qualified for the Intergalactic Crunch-Off. John Purvis is one of them. No relation to Jeff. He actually placed first in the Dixie Crash Test back in March. He qualified for the Crunch-Off in October coming up.
And along with him tonight, Larry Stats, he placed third in the Dixie Crash Fest, so he qualifies as well.
He got some wild stories for us. But, you know, some people, demo derbies are different. You know, we want you to disclaimer to your kids, do not try this at home. You could get a little messed up.
Look at that in the back.
This is something that you may have to, oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
What is this? Well, we decided, and rather than compare it to like a pillow fight, we decided to compare the demo derby to sumo wrestling. Hey, are we nuts or what? We're actually going to put on these costumes.
Yeah.
Steve, you're not wearing yours yet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know some moves. I know figure for a leg like.
Well, we're just going to go for it. Hopefully we'll have time for it a little bit later, but we'll get right back to the demo derbies coming up. And those suits.
Sumo wrestling.
Yikes. We're really going to do that?
Oh, yeah. Sumo wrestling.
You know, I tried that, Bob, trying a cruise ship a couple of years ago, and it's not as easy as it looks like to stand around in those suits without falling down. But we've got heat #1 out, and we're back in the home of the heavy hitters. Not those little cars 2 weeks ago in Buffalo. These are guys that really know how to smash and crash.
Yep, and one of the guys to beat here is driving the #1 car, and he's the reigning champion, and it's been a wild year for this guy.
As far as expecting to win it, no, I didn't, but I was very happy to win it. I can tell you that right now. Every time I watch the tape or it comes on TV, I get that feeling every time. It definitely was a good feeling. I still feel good. This year, I'm hoping to place in the top 10 again, and if I win it again, it'll be the highlight of my year again.
Being the 1996 Western States champion is certainly a highlight in Mike Doyle's life, but it isn't necessarily the highlight of everyone else's life.
There too. I really enjoyed that derby. Do you remember the shot I took when I come across from the arena, flying across the track, and I hit Michael Point? Hey, babe, come here and see what's on TV. The 1996 Western State Championship.
Oh, not this again. It's so boring.
Hey, you know, I made some new copies of the last year's tapes. You got one out yet?
Well, no, I really don't think I need another one right now. You know, I do have a life.
Oh, well. Oh, do you remember the shot where I hit opening call head on, and man, he just ripped the whole front off the car about? That was really good. This year's been great. I can't go anywhere without people bugging me. I got people I've never met in my life that know who I am. I don't know who they are. They walk up to me in the store. How you doing, Mike? I'm going, I'm pretty good, you know. I don't know these people. And then I say, how do you know me? They say, oh, we saw you win that derby on TV. I'm going, oh, yeah, that was great. Do you remember the shot when I come flying across the track and I hit the guy on the left side? This was a moose car. That was a good shot of him, too. You know that? You know, this year, I had to really deal with being famous. I spent countless hours sitting down at businesses signing autographs. I've really learned to deal with it, though. You know, you got to figure the people are your fans. You got to give them your time.
Well, the good thing about that for Mike Doyle is certainly success didn't go to his head, and he talked about the moose car. He's going to get a shot at the old boy from Alaska here in the opening session.
And winning here last October put a big target on him. They're going after him. Jack Kennedy, David Boyle, Gary Moore, Pedro Garcia. A lot of heavy hitters going to try to put him out early.
You better tighten up your seatbelt. Hope your motor don't melt. Better get ready.
Are the Reno air races. Whether it's precision flying, air racing around the pylons, aerobatics, fly-ins, just trading information about your airplane with another guy that's got the same kind. It is one unbelievable event, and one I've been to several times and really enjoyed.
That'll be coming up September 11th through the 14th. We got the first field set. We'll introduce you to all the players here in just a moment. Let's go down and meet another member of the broadcast team, Bobby Gerald.
Let me tell you about Dave Boyle. Dave Boyle is the man who drives cart number 74. And Dave was in Canada last week representing the United States in the Can-Am Championships. And unfortunately, Dave, things didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted them to. You let us down, Dave. Are you going to redeem yourself tonight?
Yes, we are. I'm going to go out and smash some cars, have some fun. This 73 Chev wagon has a little 327. Takes a lot of heat. Have some fun.
All right, good luck to you, Dave. Now, as usual, joining us down here in the Derby pit is the man who spreads love, peace, and soul to all, Tim Wilson.
Thank you, Bobby Gerald. Welcome aboard the train. I'm standing here with one of the favorites here today, the man with his signature bull moose antlers, all the way from Alaska, and believe it or not, has probably the most fans of anybody here, even though y'all had to come all the way from Alaska. Jack Kennedy. How you feel today, Jack?
Feel a little nervous, but I'm sure I'll get over that about the third hit or so.
Well, you were third in last year's Western States Smash-a-Thon. How do you feel about today?
Well, we're just going to give it our best shot today, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of station wagons out here today, and it's going to be a hard-hitting, fast-paced event.
Well, good luck out there, and you want to say hello to anybody in Alaska?
Well, I'll just say hello to everybody back in Alaska. I brought my family down here, so can't say hello to them. They're here.
Well, I hate to see this Alaska state flag get banged up, but it's going to happen.
Well, TNN is huge in Alaska. We get a lot of mail from up there, Bob Fry.
Let's take a look at the grid. Our onboard camera rides with the 00 Chris Hicks. Mike Doyle, Mad Mike, one of the big favorites here. In the number 6 car, it's Jeff Mueller, second-year man in his 72 Mercury, and the Meadster Madness. That's a 57 Plymouth of Greg Mead. Jack Kennedy, you just met him. That's the Moose car. And the NWO entry out of Modesto, California, Jose Ion. Number 29, E.J. Blaze. And that's the rating you pull it guy. He looks like he could be with the NWO. And the 73 Buick of Barrick Pimenter is the 30 car. Number 39, Tommy McBride, local boy, 74 olds, finalist here in 96. And the number 44 to look a lot like Jeff Gordon's car, that's the Rainbow Bright entry of Mike Hogue. Part of the husband and wife team, Tanya Clark and Ada Dixon. Nick Corbel in the 54 entry. Part of the Holt family, middle son, David Holt in the 58. And the Iceman, Pidio Garcia. Gary Moore drives number 66. No, not that Gary Moore. The New Holland dealer, Ada Dixon. And the hitter, Ken Howlett, one of the favorites. And part of the American team, we just met him, David Boyle out of Washington.
Okay, what do you think back there in Charlotte, huh? We've set the field for you. Anybody you like particularly? Katie, Steve?
Well, Steve, that Dave Boyle guy could look kind of dark and mysterious to me. I don't think I'll go with him, but I am going to go with number 73. He is one of the favorites, Ken Howlett. He runs derbies with his dad, has for 20 years, but his dad, who's Darrell, is in heat number 2. He is retiring tonight, so I want to see that Ken can carry on that family tradition. So go Ken, number 73.
And I'm going with number 39, Tom McBride. He's a Reno native. He works at a local car dealership, so I'm thinking he knows some trick stuff about these cars. He made it to the main event last year, and frankly, I think Mike Doyle, all the fame's gone to his head. I think, you know, it's gone to his head. He's not going to be able to run up front.
Give me my rundown.
Trophy in the grocery store. It
could happen. I don't know, but it's going to be exciting. Get ready to sit down and get smashed. Let's go back to sight.
Wait a minute. Did she say sit down and get ready to get smashed?
It's a demo term.
We had a great time here in 1996 at the Smash-a-Thon. Let's take a look at one of the guys that made the field.
Yep, this was Tom McBride, and Tom had a pretty good day until something unexpected happened right there.
I don't know how you could come into a derby and call that unexpected. And there he is. As we take a look at him live here, and this is going to be a very interesting matchup, Steve. We got some great cars. The number 10 car, guy celebrating his birthday here today, Greg Mead, with a 57 Plymouth. Got a lot of wide bodies, and they are underway. And watch the Moose car. Keep your eye on him, Mike Doyle, and, of course, Ken Howlett. Doyle right there in the number 1 car. And there's that Rainbow Bright. Looks like a big bag of Skittles, the 44 entry.
And here is our in-car 00. This is Chris Hicks from Klamath Falls, Oregon, the Crash Cam, as we like to call him. He's about to put it to good use.
That's his car right there. He has never run a station wagon, one of the few non-wagons, not only in this heat, but in the program tonight.
And he takes great pride in that. He says there's sissies in those wagons. You need a family car people can identify with 4 doors on it.
This is a very wide track.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, man, and he rides right up on top of 2 of them with our crash camera, Chris Hicks, and then he gets demolished by the Anchorage, Alaska car. Look at that. Nothing Hicks can do right now because he's not even touching down.
Our camera is completely off the ground. I think sometimes when the drivers get the camera, they try to go out and put on too good a show early. Oh, and that may have helped him there.
That's the birthday boy, Greg Mead. And there's the NWO entry, our onboard camera. He is just sitting there kind of dead in the water. Boy, if he could move, he could take out Mead right there in the 10 car.
This is about a 12-minute heat, and you have to have something left with if you go to the main. The top 4 on points will go to the main event with the 5th place as an alternate.
Watch this again on the replay with our onboard camera. Here goes. Man.
Up and over.
Prime time hit. Yes, indeed. Looked like our stock car football from up at the Erie County Fair. Hicks, the Jaws car, he's got big problems, and he's talking to himself, and I'm not sure that's going to help. And the crowd here and Nevada at the State Fair just loving it. Some big wagons still making the moves. That's David Boyle. He's the part of that Can-Am entry team that we talked about earlier. 3 years of driving, and he's already won 5 of the feature trophies in that 74 car. He was one of the last runners, by the way, for the American team at that Can-Am Bash. Let's go down courtside to Bobby Gerald.
Well, as usual, we started off by telling you a little bit about what the track conditions are like. We've got a pretty fast derby pit out here tonight, Bob and Steve. There are a couple things that are tricky about it, though, because there are patches of dry where you can really grab a hold of the track. And there are also some slick patches, so all of the derby drivers are going to have to be dealing with that when they try to plan their attack.
Well, our moose man, Jack Kennedy from Alaska, who did so well a year ago, he laid back for a little while, but now he's scoring some points with the judges, I guarantee it. And so, too, is that 74 car of Dave Boyle.
He just took out Tommy McBride right there. Look at this. Here's an arena shot from the NWO car taking out the boys, and he just about ran him up and over the berms. Now, if you go over those berms here, Steve, you can get back in to competition. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to happen here for Chris Hicks. That's a 65 Chrysler Newport. Watch this. If somebody runs at him, our onboard camera's going to give you a great shot at it.
The guys that really prepare these Derby cars to perfection usually lock the spider gears in the rear end so that both rear tires get traction or get drive from the motor, from the drive shaft.
That's the moose guy. Go figure. Anybody that loves moose hunting. Let's go down now to Tim Wilson.
Hey, I'm down here with the delegation from Alaska. They're here with Jack Kennedy, Demolition Derby driver, and possibly, I guess, future Alaska senatorial candidate or something. This guy's popular. Tony, how long have y'all been down here?
The Kennedys have been here about a week. They flew down last Saturday.
Boy, I'm looking here. Y'all brought about half the state of Alaska with you.
He's got his daughter and his son, Sean, 7 years old, Jamie, 5, and his wife, Kay.
Well, I feel like we're in Alaska, not in Nevada. Back upstairs to Steve Evans.
Well, I got to tell you, if you're going to go into politics, Jack Kennedy is about as good a name as you could carry. And also, I'm not sure he's going to get the green vote, though, with the moose horns on the roof of that car. But Jack's rocking and rolling now. He has come to play.
Got some trouble now up the back there. This is a great look at Mike Doyle with our Motor Madness logo on. And you can see it's a lot of the wagons that are still alive, dead in the water. Gary Moore, part of the father-son team, number 66. Oh, and there's a great hit right there by Dave Boyle. Boyle really smashing up, and here comes the Skittles and/or Jeff Gordon, entry 44, 29, E.J. Blaze, and the 72 Monaco. He's not doing a whole lot. And there's our Motor Madness CarQuest entry. And he just takes a smack. The wagon's still doing well in the 44 car. Hey, running as well as Jeff Gordon is. We'll be back and wrap up heat number 1 from Reno, Nevada, next.
He's a demolition derby man. He's all the wreck one car can stand.
To remind you that anything can happen at Miller Time.
We are back at the Western States Smash-a-Thon, about as wild and crazy a first heat as we have ever seen in our coverage here on Motor Madness on TNN. Unbelievable.
Some great matchups. 66 isn't enjoying this as much as we are. That's Gary Moore, the one else.
He may have scored enough points, though, because he was so aggressive early on. Mike Doyle, right now, look at that car, vibrate and shake. The tires are flat. He can't get any grip with the left, or he's dug himself a hole there, using every bit of body English he can. The steering is trying to fall out. Other than that, it's a clean one owner.
Steve, he would almost hope that somebody would come in and take him out. I mean, this time, even his Superman garb isn't going to help him out of anything. He would love for somebody to come and punch him out, but they're not going to do it because they realize the trouble that Doyle's in.
Like I say, though, we'll have to see what Dutch Holland and his four crack judges come up with. He may still make that main event. Bobby Gerald, what do you see down there?
Well, I tell you what, Steve, not only is the Derby going on, but we've also got the Nevada State Fair going on. And right over my shoulder, there are some horse activities, I'm told, by TJ and Ty, my two buddies here, 10-year-old twins. Ty, who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for 14.
All right. What about you, TJ? Who you got?
Number 74.
How much did you guys bet, Ty?
Nothing.
You didn't bet nothing? What's up with that? You got to bet something. Here, shake hands. You guys bet a quarter. I'll spot both of you. You want to shake hands? They don't want to cooperate, guys.
Boy, that's that free spending Bobby Durrell down there, just throwing that money around. 14, of course, is Kennedy right there in the center of the picture. He has lost a tire, and there's Boyle, number 74. He's lost the front wheel.
Well, Dave Boyle, not only a member of the U.S. team at the Can-Am Derbies, he's also a high school coach.
Does he coach demoing?
I don't know if that's a scholastic sport. Maybe in the state of Nevada. But look at our man. Doyle is moving again. Mike Doyle has got that black number 1 moving again.
Now, the good thing about that Ford Doyle is that he might have a chance being here in Heat 1. Kennedy is doing a marvelous job. We've seen cars come into the Derby look worse than that when they get started. He takes into Howitt right there. That was Katie's pick, and I don't think there's any doubt that Kennedy, Howitt, Doyle probably, Jose Aon are all going to advance into the finals, along with the 44 car, Mike Hogue, the auto dismantler by profession. Talk about typecasting.
Now, you may wonder why they run the exhaust up through the hood like that. It's not for a zoomy look. It's so they can hear and tell when the motor is running. There's so much noise with the helmets on, they don't always know the motor's running unless they can hear the exhaust. And there is number 39. That is Tom McBride, sponsored by Distance, Reno's hottest new rock band. Right now, he'd like them to rope him off the band. If he wins tonight, he's what?
You think he's bowing the race here? He's the only guy that says, I don't really think I want to win this thing and everything like this. He's going in the tank, I'm telling you. you, folks. Look at this. They're playing ring around right there. We're about ready to end this heat number 1, and there are about half a dozen cars still alive. The Demolition Determinator sitting there judging on hits, and, of course, it helps if you're running at the end. But I got to like the guys we mentioned. Of course, the 14 car, Kennedy, right there. The 22 car, Jose, is still doing a wonderful job. And how about Doyle? Got himself out of that predicament. We might not call him the champ. We might call him Houdini for getting out of that.
That is not even recognizable as an automobile. I have to tell you that Jack Kennedy, from what we saw, drove the smartest race. Certainly the most aggressive was Mike Doyle right there.
And Howard doing a great job there with the 73 car. And poor Gary Moore in the 66 car as the fans go wild looking. And just a couple of last little whacks. Mike Hogue out of Modesto. And it's ironic because this car looks like Jeff Gordon's, and he says, I am not a number 24 fan. Doyle has been doing a marvelous job. Just took out the NWO entry. And all the big hitters right there. And these are the guys that will advance, I'm pretty sure, Steve.
Pat, the only place Mike Doyle can sell that number 1 car maybe would be in Buffalo, where during the winter it's just a parking structure with a sign that says this is not an abandoned car.
Unbelievable. And there are the remnants of some of the non-survivors. You got about a minute or so left here. Big hit right there. Howard, he and his dad are running here. His dad, will be talking about him a little bit later on. And Doyle kind of really getting smashed up. I'm amazed at the way Howard's car and the 44 car have survived, along with Jose Ion, who's got an interesting way to run this thing with the water in that car, Steve.
Yeah, he really doesn't run any water. In fact, he wants to bet anybody in the place $500 his engine will run longer without water than theirs. Somebody might take him up on that. Is Dutch Hall and his wife Fran looking on. A lot of these drivers wishing that this first heat was over right now. And I think Dutch is about to call it.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that the cars we've been featuring. Look at the birthday boy, number 10 right there. He is just sitting there, and it's not a great way to spend your birthday. And there's the 22 car, Jose Ion, and the NWO car doing a wonderful job. And a look at Doyle, who got out of that predicament. We'll come back and find out which 4 and the alternate advance to the finals when we come back.
The meanest man driving, and that ain't no lie. He's legally blind in his good eye. He can't see much, but he can smell the kill. So you better not get caught standing still.
To dance with us. We can teach you how to belly dance. It's good for you. It's good for your soul.
Well, you obviously don't recognize me. I'm already a famous belly dancer. I'm a beer belly dancer.
Well, there's another group that Wilson's offended.
Better him than us. He's got those Bud abs. I'll tell you, there's been a lot of carnage here. The wreckers right now coming out to drag them off as we get ready for the second heat. But let me tell you about the future of Demolition Derby here on TNN the rest of 1997. If you're in the Northeast, well, you want to be at Springfield, Massachusetts, because we're going to bring our traveling crash and crunching show to the Big E, the Eastern States Expo. That's September the 12th, and we like to call it the New England Slam Chowder. Get it? Bondo Jones will be there. And then, as Bob mentioned earlier, for the final Demolition Derby event of the year, the intergalactic, modestly titled Crunch-Off, the Canadian national team will be there. It'll be the biggest purse for the best drivers in the universe. I suggested we have it on the South Lawn at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but I'm told that they won't be home that weekend, and that we have a surprise site that will amaze all of you when it's announced. So that's where we're going to be the rest of this year on Friday nights for Demolition Derby.
Hey, if they're not home, all the better to use their backyard there. Here on TNN, round number 1 is in the books, and the crowd is getting set for the second one now. It was Dave Doyle finished in the 3rd slot. Ken Howard, that was Katie's pick. Number 2, Jose Ion, the big sleeper. Number 1, Mike Doyle, makes the cut as he makes it into the finals. Let's go down with the winner and Bobby G.
All right, Jose does things a little bit unconventional, guys. As you mentioned, no water in the radiator, and he made it last. Jose, that was the plan going in right from Jump Street. No water, and how unconventional is that?
Yeah, well, that's what you want to do when you're out there. Just go out there, and if you lose your radiator, still go.
Well, Steve Evans opened with this car, and so far, so good. You were pretty confident coming in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time confident.
He says there's no doubt that he's going to take it home tonight. Tim Wilson?
I'm with last year's champion, Mike Doyle, number 1. Mike, what place did you get there?
I got 4th in the heat.
Man, that's amazing. That car looked like the car was turned over, but still on 2 wheels.
Yeah, it was on 2 wheels. I had 2 flats that would really slow me down and cost me to really work the car real hard there. It got real hot, but hopefully we can get it ready for the main in good shape.
When you got hung up down here on the back end of the track down here, what was happening there?
I was stuck in the dirt with the 2 flats. The frame was hitting in the dirt, and it took me a while to work it loose. So luckily, a car came along and hit me. Thought I was still in the action, and got me going.
What do you got here on your shirt? Demolition Derby 1996 Western States champion.
Yeah, I won it last year. I was fortunate enough to win it last year. I have all these good drivers. It's going to be tough this year. I'll give it all I got again.
Well, man, you got some work to do, so go over there and get after it.
All right, thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later.
Well, our man from Alaska, Jack Kennedy, is the alternate, and Bob Pratt, wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't make it. I don't know all 4 of those cars can be repaired to make to our second heat. You know, whenever you're in the Reno area, there's just so much to see and do, north, south, east, and west. And one of my favorite spots, my wife Sandy and I, anytime we're up here, is south shore of Lake Tahoe. This is Emerald Bay, the beautiful waterfall at Emerald Bay, only about 35 miles from downtown Reno. We'll be back to Charlotte in a minute.
All right, hanging out with us here at the Motor Madness, playing with the telestrator, which we will use with
You're good at that,
expertise
by
a
the
little
way.
later. Yeah, right. A lot of fun playing tic-tac-toe. But actually, we got to go back to the site just soon, but we have a very special guest we want you to meet, a driver who is going to be the intergalactic
An expert analyst.
That's what he says. So let's find out about him. Come back with us here at Motor Madness next. Yeah, I think you should.
Oh, okay.
A little miss up.
Okay. A moment ago, we said we were going to talk to an expert, John Purvis. He was at the Dixie Crash Fest, but we'll do that momentarily. We now need to go back to site.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you very
Without
much.
explaining anything, we're gonna go back to site to actually see the results of that heat. How you doing, Steve? Everybody, Demo Derby-ing, huh?
Yep, we are back. The second heat still getting lined up. And Bob Fry, we couldn't ask for much better than the first one.
That was a spectacular heat. That's as good as we've seen here on Motor Madness in that heat number 1, and it will be interesting to see if some of the alternates get in, because one of the big favorites there was kind of knocked out. There's Joe Reyes, who had a, well, not a good year last year. He was one of the favorites coming in and did not make the cut. He had some problems, and that kind of says it all right there. He'll be looking to redeem himself here today.
And Bob, you know, the top drivers have discovered that vehicles with 5-mile-an-hour bumpers can provide a real competitive advantage for reasons you might not think of. For the inside scoop on how to set them up the right way, we asked Joe Reyes to share the tricks of his trade.
Okay, this bumper here is what you call a 5-mile-an-hour bumper. This bumper is, I mean, it's reinforced from the factory. I mean, gosh, this bumper must weigh, God, 100 pounds minimum, maybe even more. I just can't. Anyway, when they made them, they put like a little shock absorber behind the bracket. So when you hit, the bumper would go in and then pop out. Like I said, it's called a 5-mile-an-hour bumper. So what we do is we pop the shock, let the air out. It's got fluid to it, you can see it. Then we beat it in where heavy metal touches heavy metal, and we weld it around. Because if not, it'll break off and fall off. And one main thing, not only does it help me in the Derby itself, it helps me in this, because it seems like I'm a magnet. My car draws itself to bumpers that are laying in the track there, and I end up on top of them. God, I've lost 10 Derbies because I end up on top of a bumper. So anyway, I'm going to make sure that my bumper's welded on for 2 purposes. I won't run over it, plus it'll stay on when I hit.
He certainly has got to be one of the odds-on favorite. You can take a look right there at what he's done to the front of that race car, and we'll find out if that strategy works out here in a moment in heat number 2. Bobby?
Are looking live at the feet of Jim Wagner, who is going to be competing in our second heat. Jim, why are you barefoot?
So I can hold on to the pedals.
All right. Now, is this something that you've started recently, or have you always done your derbies without shoes?
I've always ran my derbies without shoes.
No one tells you it gives you any hard time about the safety?
No. Sometimes they do, but not very often.
All right, well, Jim towed all the way from Glendale, Arizona, 15 hours to run barefoot here tonight, Tim.
I'm over here with a wild man here, number 77, the Duke of Hazzard. Duke Has. Is it true you talked Dutch Holland into letting you drive when you were 15?
He had enough to talk me into it. I don't know how it goes, but yeah, I didn't talk him into it. He just kind of did it.
You were wrecking cars before you had a license.
You got it. You got it, man. It just happened to it. We got the crew up there from Las Vegas, Cal, right there giving me the release the beast right now. Hey, this Peter's Gun Night custom full plastic car is really running on.
Well, the thing I like about you, Duke, is you're shy.
Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit, man. Now, but, baby, you got to be shy in this derby. You know what I mean?
Man, I think he's trying to take my job, Bob Fry.
Nobody can take your job, Tim.
That's the kind of fun we were talking about at the top of the show. And, you know, in Demolition Derby terms, this man here has seen it all. Darrell Howitt, driving the number 72 car, has been competing in Derby since the early 1960s. But, you know, like any great athlete, time finally catches up to you, and someday must be your last. Now that time has come for Darrell Howitt, and today will be his last Demolition Derby.
In the picturesque hills of California's wine country lives a Demolition Derby icon. And like a carefully aged wine, Darrell Howitt has crafted a successful Derby driving career spanning over 30 years. It's a career rich in history and fond memories.
I remember my first Demolition Derby, which I started back in the early 60s. We started back then with older cars, with Chevrolets, 6 cylinders. It didn't last very long like the cars today do. The older cars that I've destroyed over my years would be collector's items now, and I wish I had a few of them to put in my garage. Looking back at the derbies when we first started out, we were actually pioneers. We had tough time scraping the money up because we were young, we was raising a family. Boy, the sport has changed over the years. It's not like it used to be. The sport itself, when it first started out, was basically take your family car and take it to the Derby. Over the years, it's got where it's more professional. You have to fix your car up or you won't be there at the end. The vehicles we're running now are much stronger and last longer, so you better be ready to take some hits because you're going to get them or you're going to get put out. This will all end with me retiring this year, and my family will enjoy me retiring, and my son can take over from here.
Darrell's decision to retire may be bittersweet, but it is something to celebrate with his son, Ken Howitt.
Ken, you know the Napa Valley makes some of the best wines in the world. Fortunately, over the years, I haven't made a lot of money derbying, so what I'm going to have to do is substitute the better wine for a little bit less expensive wine. Here you go.
Our kind of guys.
How was it? Oh, man, they're celebrating his final Derby. Well, folks, you know, the Nevada State Fair may not be the biggest in the country, but it's one of the cleanest, most fun, and certainly the safest. Everybody's a great time.
At the track.
It's a pleasure to be back here at the Silver Legacy Hotel in Reno, Nevada, because now that I'm Tim Wilson, star of the biggest Demolition Derby show in the world, I need to stay in some place plush, a place with A-list entertainment, decent, clean silverware. And the Silver Legacy has got stuff that any star could ask for. Coffee shops, 5 restaurants to choose from, boutiques where I can get some decent threads. But the one thing that I really can't get into here at the Silver Legacy is this safe. Shoot.
Tim, don't get a stethoscope booted out of that hotel. It's about the nicest one we stay in all year. Oh, heat number 2, Bob Fry, staging up.
Let's take a look at the grid here, and there are some bad boys in this one. There he is, number 4 or 99, Joe Reyes. And it's shoeless Jim Wagner. He'll have our crash cam on board. In the 9 car, it'll be Brian Smith with the 9-ball Chevrolet. Jimmy Stinfellow in the Bash, mobile entry. Number 20 is Alan Woosley. He says his car is cream and rust colored. And Steve Warwick's the master of disaster. In the 28 car, it's the Beaker, Scott Gallegos. We saw him last year. He is tough. and the wagon wrecker, Brian Holt. Number 34 car joins number 38, Terry Jersum. On that part of the lineup, we'll see 43, Fred Salas, the 72 Plymouth Roadrunner, and Jason McCurl, who has never won one of the demo derbies. In the 53 car, Jimmy Folsom with a 383 Chrysler and that 75 Dodge, and Mike Moore with a 58, yes, a 58 T-Bird. Kelly Sachs, 28 years old, getting set to go in the Staying Alive entry. Timmy Fuller, the watermelon man, whose wife also demo derbies for a living. It's the other Moore, that's Bubba, and Darrell Howard, we mentioned him. He'll try to join his son in the main. Phil King with a 73 Buick wagon, and the guy that we saw with Tim Wilson, Duke Haas, maybe he's got the key to the save.
It will be interesting to see if they are as angry in the early going at heat number 2 as they were in number 1. That was just amazing. The track a little drier, could be even a little bit faster.
75 car, Phil King. There's the 64 car, Timmy Fuller, and the watermelon. We'll take a look at the in-car camera right now. And there you see it. That's the number 8 man, shoeless, Jim Wagner. Doesn't wear shoes because he wants to hang on to the gas pedal. Good thing he hasn't had problem staying stuck to the seat. No telling what he might have done. Watch this. Gonna get one of those arena shots coming up. Oh, baby.
That was the way you score. He hit on the passenger side to try to take out that right front wheel and suspension. That was a great shot.
There's the killer, Phil King out of Washington State. Couple of Washington and Oregon runners here. One of the few non-wagons. Gary Moore, Bubba, and Steve, I want to tell you, if you look at him, he looks like a Bubba, if you know what I mean. The 9-ball car is in trouble already. And there's the Bird. There's the number 55 car. That 58 Bird ran the 9-ball car right out of here by number 4, Joe Reyes, who's on a mission.
But I have to tell you, I didn't expect that 55 car, when we see it in a second right there, that T-Bird to be out there very long. Not a lot of sheet metals, an old rusty T-Bird that was not worthy of being restored.
Got some great cars. The killer wagon there is Phil King. He's the 75 car, and I expect him to hang for a while. The Washington State car, big wide body, 4,500-pound Buick. 28 car right in the middle of the mix, the Beaker. Scott Gallegos, the 9-ball car, still stuck in the corner pocket.
Well, they're not cheering for the 9 car, that's for sure, because Brian Smith has got a lot of problems. He came from Newman, California, big-time drag racing fan. We need all of those we can get next weekend with our live shows here on TNN from the U.S. National.
And he started demoing back in when he was 16 years old, and doesn't look like it's going to be one of his better efforts. Brian Holt has a 63 Lincoln, and there is Joe Reyes, 99 and forever, just looking to whack anybody. Just a spectacular veteran here, 4-time Arizona State champion, and the guy that has said he's got that special bumper there, and if he can keep from getting whacked on the front, he can be a player in the finals.
And nobody is more enthusiastic about the sport he enjoys. He's like a missionary for it, as we can see in that TV. He sits there and bench race all day with you, or bench crash with you all day.
Let's go down now and join Tim Wilson on the sidelines.
I'm down here with Rosemary Reyes. She's babysitting future crew chief Gabriella. Joe looks like he's putting it on him out there today, Rosemary.
Yes, he is.
He had a little difficulty last time we were here, but he looks like he's giving them an attitude adjustment.
Yeah, he is. He's doing good.
Well, win or lose, Joe always leaves here with the most girls. I'll say that.
Yeah, he
Everywhere
does.
you look, there's Reyes women.
That's it.
No Bob Fry women.
Go figure. He is in big trouble right there, Reyes. Let's go down and check now with Bobby Gerald.
More Reyes women. Kathy Reyes, who is the daughter of Joe, the crew chief. Kathy, how bad does Joe want this one today after the disappointment of last year?
Oh, he wants this one bad. We've done everything to try to anticipate any problems, and hopefully we're going to do great this year. It was a big disappointment last year, but looks like we've been doing okay.
Let me ask you this. Is he really a black belt in karate?
Absolutely. He's good at everything he does. But that's just because he's my dad. He's my hero.
There you go. You better not make this guy mad.
Oh, yeah, there's a guy that I want to beat up. Great racing going on. A couple of the cars kind of dead in the water. The watermelon man right there is in trouble. The 58 T-Bird's still doing good. And right there, that's the Beaker. Scott Gallegos opened up his own business this year. Has not demoed since we saw him last year.
I asked him, Bull of the 64 car with a watermelon on the roof, if he raced watermelon. He said, no, my mother-in-law collects little things that have to do with watermelons in her honor. And there's number 31. He is just sitting there, Brian Holt.
That is a 63 Lincoln Continental with a 390 Ford engine. Mechanic by profession. He says these Fords are very good, and I can take out the wagons if I can keep them getting whacked too much on the front end of the race car. Phil King in the 75 car, the fans love what they're seeing right here. Another good bash going on. We'll come back and continue with heat number 2 from Nevada next.
With a gas floor against the dashboard, there goes your bumper. Better get the wrecker warned. You feel like an Iraqi in the desert storm.
What? Live here on TNN at the Western States Smash-a-Thon. And one guy who hoped for a great first heat here, Gary Bubba Moore, is not having it. His father Gary drove in heat number 1, remember the car number 66, but Bubba has waved off. And also Duke Hawk, or Daryl Howard, I'm sorry, the 72 car, who said this would be his last race. He may have an early evening.
Oh, he's surprisingly doing well right there. Going to try to join his son in the main. Look at the number 4 or 99 car in the beginning. That was Joe Reyes right in the lower part of the screen. He and Howard both staying alive. Howard is looking in tremendous shape, Steve, for this far into it. And look at that. That 58th bird is still in the competition. So is Phil King with that wagon, that 75 car, and Duke in the 77 car right there. He needs somebody to do what we saw them do in the first heat, bump him out of that little rut that he's in.
Yeah, he was the 15-year-old that tricked Dutch Holland years ago. Little did he know Dutch just needed that extra 50 bucks. They knew he was 15. I'll bet on it.
Shoeless Jim Wagner is still in the heat. That's the number 8 car. Jimmy Sinfellow, the Bash Mobile entry, with the number 15 wagon. And Steve, I got to tell you, number 72, Daryl Howard doing a marvelous job, and so is Jimmy Folsom. That's a 75 Dodge with a 383 Mopar, was doing good right until we went to him. Check out the seats in there. Hey, Bobby Gerald, I don't know if you can see those seat covers from where you are.
I can't see him. I can't see him from where we're at, Bob, but he was doing great just until just a moment ago. Jake Kresman's his brother-in-law. What happened, Jake?
You know, I don't know. He's doing fine, then all of a sudden it looks like he's stuck in a hole, but it's hard to tell. He's got a couple flats with him, so.
Do you think he scored enough points early on to be able to advance?
No.
How's that for honesty?
He could at least lobby a little bit, you know. The Killer doing a great job, minus the one left rear wheel. But he is having a great heat. That's the Washington State runner, and he is still moving. The Beaker, Scott Gallegos, is doing good. And look at 72. Amazing. It's Phil King, a great winner in Washington State, where they don't run a lot of the wagons in Washington and Oregon. But he's doing well, staying alive, and so is Shelby Sachs, the 61 car.
You'll find a number of these cars, regardless of the original manufacturer. Phil King may be one of them. They install Chrysler motors, 383s, 318s. Those are cool running motors. They're cheap. You can find them in any kind of junkyard. In fact, that T-Bird right there that just went to your screen, the 55 car, has a 318 Copar motor in it.
Shelby Sachs into some problems right now. He's 28 years old, a cable installer by profession. I asked him, what's the key to winning? He said, just stay alive. And right now, he's in a log jam out there in the middle. Got some problems here, but that'll be the 72 car. And Daryl Howard running maybe the demo of his life. And the 8 car right in front of him, right with him, that's shoeless Jim Wagner. Howard in the yellow car, Wagner in the 8 car.
Well, I tell you, if he wins his final ever Derby, they'll have some better wine than that stuff they had in the sack. I guarantee you that.
Now, they called him the geezer. We don't write him, folks. We just read him. He has made enough hits. You see the front of the car. He's really bogged down as the Demolition Determinator taking a look. I think he's going to have to agree with us, Steve. I cannot believe the T-Bird, the 58 T-Bird, is still running and in remarkably good shape.
When they first unloaded that T-Bird, it had moon wheel discs on it. We thought that's cool, but they made him take them off so it didn't fly around the field. It took a stand.
And the guy right there in the center of the screen, that is the 31 car, Brian Holt, the 63 Lincoln Continental, and he is still alive. So 2 of the cars, although he's got a little smoke on the water right now. The Wagon Reaper, he says we can take these big wide bodies out, but right now he's getting a lot more than he's given.
And the Oregonian, or the Washingtonian, I should say, Phil King in that 75 car. He came to play, and he's not about to give up. If you continue to get sheet metal to sheet metal, you've got a good chance of moving to the main event where the money is.
If we advance 2 non-wagons out of this, including one of those Holt boys, a couple of guys involved in the business here together, including Brian Holt. Steve, if we advance 2 non-wagons out of this, that'd be a huge upset.
Sure would. That's Brian Holt, the youngest of those 3 brothers with the stacks out of the hood. It's kind of a neat look, but also you can tell when the motor's running. That's the main purpose for it. Ooh, look at this.
Phil King.
Ugly.
Hey, that's attractive. Phil King, please show up and pick my daughter up in that car. But he is still running, and that's the key, especially at this juncture. He's kind of taking it out right there on Brian Holt, the 31 car. So the wagon wrecker is getting wrecked by the wagons right about now.
They took sledgehammers before the event and beat that sheet metal so that it would bend up like that instead of downward and interfered with the tires or to get down into the dirt.
I like the Beaker, the guy right there with the Mickey Mouse on the top. Oh, baby, there's a hit. Shelby Sachs in the 61 car, who was the Yuba City champion, looking to advance into the finals. Going to be very interesting. There are probably 8 or 9 cars that could make the cut and advance. 4 will definitely go. We'll have an alternate, the 75 car, Phil King, and that 73 wide-body Buick meets up right there with Brian Holton, the wagon wrecker.
You know, I asked the Beaker where he got that nickname. He says it goes back to when he was 5 years old and he had a big nose. He said, I grew into it, but never lost the nickname.
You seen the profile, you wouldn't ask where he got the name. That Shoeless Joe right there in the 8 car. And how about Shelby Sachs? He was running almost right to the end, and so is Phil King on the right side of the screen, the 75 car. There's Alan Woosley, the cream and rust color car. And rust is the least of his problems. The Demolition Determinator, adding them up. We'll find out who advances when we come back next.
Yeah, the boy's gonna snap you, the other side swipe you. Better confidential, they're peeling you off the wall. You're gonna need a differential and a Tylenol.
So you're building that deck with Time Life to help you along.
It's drivers at dirt track races. Drag racing, they've got Junior Drag League. Well, in Demolition Derby, this is our farm system. Ow! Hey, watch it, lady. Hey, watch it, little girl. Hey, little girl.
He wouldn't last one rush hour in Los Angeles. I'm telling you right now. You know, the UPS strike may well have been settled, but we still can't seem to find our expensive winter circle that we cart from Derby to Derby. So it's somewhere in a brown truck being driven by somebody in brown shorts. So we'll just have to do without it this afternoon and still thank Crane Cams and B&M Racing and Performance Products and Dutch Holland for all the awards that will be given out at the end of this evening. Gift certificates for valuable automotive products from the Pine Spar family at B&M Racing and Automotive, good friends of mine and Bob Fry's. And down in Hollandale, Florida, Crane Cams has all kinds of nice automotive products for these guys.
A lot of these guys are actually running those products. They said they built some of these engines just for the Derby because they said the bodies are one thing, but the engine's very important that thing stays running. Well, let's find out how they did. How about the Beaker? Scott Gallegos wins. Shelby Sachs stays alive. We like the 75. And Jimmy Sinfeld and Darrell Howitt on the bubble, the alternate. Well, he did not make it, but if one of those 4 cannot advance, we'll see number 72 with his son in the championship round. Let's go down and join Timmy.
Amidst all the smoke, I'm here with the winner of heat number 2, Scott Gallegos. How are you, Scott?
I'm really hot right now, actually.
You got a mess over here. This is my sentimental favorite because this right here, folks, is the official Bondo Jones car. This looks just like the one we shot the video in.
Yes, it does. Looks almost identical.
Well, not quite identical. You kind of almost missing the front end here. You're going to be able to get this thing ready?
Yeah, we got enough spare parts. I do believe we can put it together. So my pit crew is very professional. They can put almost anything back together.
Well, if anybody can do it, Scott, you're my sentimental favorite for the rest of my life. From now, when we're 80 years old, I hope that Scott Gallegos is out here kicking butt.
I will be.
Speaking of kicking butt, let's go over to the master, Bobby Gerald.
Thank you, Tim. I think that man needs a differential and a Tylenol. All right, here's second place, Shelby Sachs. Shelby, there's not a lot of race cars left there in the back. Is that going to be all right for the main event?
Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. We'll make 2 more derbies with this.
2 more derbies with that mess?
Yeah. It's notch. It'll come up. No problem.
All right, it looks like an awful lot of damage to the layman, Steve.
Well, Bobby, I don't know about a differential and a Tylenol. I could use the Tylenol sometimes, but my diff's in pretty good shape. Okay, everybody, we got a lot more action to come. Smash and crash, rock and roll from Nevada. Stay with us.
Ay, ay, ay. So we can't bring cars into the studio to bash them up, so we're going to put on sumo suits and bash each other up that way. We hope.
That's going to be big.
It's going to be a brand new experience for both of us, but we're looking forward to it, really. Waiting in anticipation. But actually, we've got an expert here who has done demo derbies for, about 10 years. He won the Dixie Crash Fest, whatever they call it, earlier this year. He is into the
Georgia?
intergalactic...
Crunch-off.
Crunch-off. I want to say shootout, but it's not a shoot. There he is. Work that wheel.
John Purvis holding a pretty wheel.
Yes, he is. And he is here with us. Please welcome to Motor Madness, John Purvis. Hi, John.
Hi.
Hi.
All the way from Ohio.
All the way.
Yeah, from Trenton. And you went down to Georgia. You won there. In the Impala sedan?
74 Impala.
And then when you went back home, the guys ganged up on you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Why did they do that?
Because he became a big star.
Maybe.
I don't know. I guess they did the same to Jeff Gordon. Of course, I think you look like Jeff. Heard that before?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't mind.
No.
I've always wondered, how do you guys get the cars that you run in the demo derbies? You just go to a junkyard? Do you... surely the dealers don't sit their cars out there like that. How do you do that?
Sometimes you'll stray around and you'll see one sitting in somebody's yard, and you have to go up and be, pretty calm about it. You can't really go up and tell them you're Derby or whatever.
Why? What do they say?
Why not?
They just don't like it. It's sentimental to them in some sense, So.
Really?
So you have to lie. You have to say, I'm just buying this for
your grandma.
Go to church or to go to the
For your
grocery
wife.
store.
Yeah.
And then you go out and just tear it all to shreds.
Yeah.
Yikes. So what is your ideal car, actually? For demo derby?
Any Impala between a 74 and 76.
Yeah. Does it hurt? You take a lot of bangs and crunches. I mean, you get hurt in these cars, right?
A few bumps and bruises. Nothing really major for me yet.
Is that what your wife says?
No, she don't really mind.
It's telestrator time.
You don't know her that well.
It's telestrator time.
Yeah, we've got some action here. We'd like you to take a look, and okay, fine.
I want you to do it.
I don't know what I'm doing. Now we got here. Who's this, Greg?
It's Chris Hicks.
Chris Hicks.
00.
What kind of hit is this car 73 going to be? Oh my goodness, he's going on top of them, right here.
That's going to leave a mark.
That's just a good hit for the crowd. It wasn't really flush enough to really do any damage.
I see. Now, we've got another one we ought to show you. This is the same guy. He's going over, above and beyond the Call of Duty there. But we've got another shot of the same guy, 00, and this is from tonight.
There he is.
Now, that's a good hit.
Does that hurt, John?
The back end there.
If you don't see it coming, it hurts.
Right?
Really?
Yeah. There. See, you shouldn't let me play with this. But
you're so good at it.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't know. How long do you think you're going to do this? You've done it for 10 years. You're going to go on some more?
Maybe a couple more. I don't plan on doing a whole lot longer.
But you do want to win the crunch off, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. How much does that pay?
We haven't been told yet.
But he will be there.
Well, I'm sure your wife would like to know. Lori, who was too scared to come out here in the studio.
I don't blame her.
She didn't want to get close to the sumo outfits, I guess. Well,
there's a new loss in the studio in Charlotte. John Purvis is here also. The big sumo match is coming up later.
You can't wait, Andy. You just can't wait to slip on that
I'm ready.
Whatever it is. We are going to go back. We're showing you a full slate of demo derbies tonight. We're about ready for Heat 3. There will be 4 plus the main event. Now, in Heat 3, I'm going to be watching for car number 76. This is Roger Whaley. He's always a strong competitor. He's run for 25 years, but didn't run last year's show, so he might have been overlooked by some of the handicappers. I'm going to go for number 76.
I've got my eyes on number 2, Tom Chivers. He placed second in last year's Western States Championship, his 4th Western U.S. title, 20 years of experience, and 46 main event wins. That's a lot of experience.
Yeah, it is.
46 wins.
We picked a couple of winners. Hopefully, we haven't jinxed them. Let's go back to Reno, Nevada with Steve in the game.
Burns goes with the dark horse, Steve.
And that's a good choice. Chivers is such a dedicated Derby competitor. As we said, he was second last year and probably carries that number 2. But he'd really like to improve that by 1 digit. In fact, he remembers well just what took him down in 1996. Then in the 44 car, Chivers flying his dual flags. Just got a little too aggressive towards the middle of that final and took out the front end. The radiator went, the motor took, and that was it. He had to settle for second place.
And they're coming out and lining them up right now. Before we set the field, let's go down to Bob 2 Tylenol and a differential Gerald.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'm standing next to the Pink Dog, number 70, Kelly Lampe. Kelly was going to be with us in Wichita, but the orchestra was a little bit out of tune. You had some illegal doings there. Kelly, first, let's show America the hair. Can we? Special, isn't it? Kelly, you're back here, and you were actually illegal when you showed up today, I heard.
Yes, I was. I had to cut a few welds, had deck lids in that where we come from, we can run, and they told us we cut them. So we cut them out, and we're here to run and put a show on for the crowd tonight.
Good luck to you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kelly is racing with a big fat knee brace on. He has had 2 knee reconstructions in the last 9 months, Tim Wilson.
Well, Bob Gerald, tell Bob Fry if he keeps using my song lyrics, I'm going to get him on copyright infringement. I'm down here with a 1974 New Yorker inside it from Sonora, California, Rick Roberts, great wedding planner. Is it true you got married at a demolition derby?
Yes, sir, I did, on July 15th of 1990.
Hopefully you're still married to her?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, it's good you save money on bride and maid dresses and all that kind of stuff?
No, we didn't wear anything like that, and we did save some money. We just went out like this.
Well, how long did it take you to build this car, Rick?
About 2 months. Usually it takes me a little longer, but this one was just a throwaway, throw it together and stuff like that.
What's your wife's name?
Teddy Roberts.
Well, tell her I said hello. You say hello to her.
Hello, Teddy, and the TNN says hi, too.
Good luck, Rick.
Say hi to my mom and all my friends at Chicken Ranch Bingo, and hope everybody has a good time. And,
hey, whatever you do, Rick, don't mention 2 Tylenol and a differential. You have a lawsuit slapped on you. Hey, there's a look at Ralph Garcia. He'll be driving the 63X car. He's one of the guys with a reputation as a huge hitter on the Demo Derby circuit. Now, one reason might be that his demolition derbying is part of a much bigger purpose, because on and off the track, Ralph is a man on a mission.
We only have one environment, and we have to recycle to take care of it.
Ralph Garcia knows our society has a serious problem with waste management, and he's actively looking for recycling solutions from which we will all benefit.
Nature is the greatest teacher in recycling. We could take a lesson from her and keep things from landing in our landfills and keep this country a cleaner place for everybody. As far as I'm concerned, recycling is really important to me, not just as part of my job, but as part of my way of life.
Ralph applies his environmental commitment to every aspect of his life, including his love of demolition derby. He's dedicated to educating the public on the combined benefits of recycling and the derbies.
Recycling saves billions and billions of dollars. Take this old Heat, for instance. I'm going to recycle it, make a demolition derby car out of it. Then it might end up like one of these. And then I'll take it to a crusher. And then it'll be recycled again. It might end up as somebody's new vehicle. I'm doing my part to recycle. How about you?
Hey, I'm in, Ralph, and good luck tonight with a great attitude like that, and certainly words to recycle by. Okay, at the Nevada State Fair, they're having some kind of fun over on the Midway. That's not for me, but for you people that enjoy those sort of things, stop by. I got a free pass for you.
Remember, we're at the Nevada State Fair 18th Annual Cookie Bake-Off, and I, Tim Wilson, have been given the honor of being this year's judge. Chocolate chip cookie intermediate class. First, durability. Second, viscosity.
Have you ever?
Third, balance. Fourth, crushability. This year's winner, Jackie Spinetta. What? Congratulations, Jackie.
Oh, thanks. What are you doing?
I'm sorry, sir. All decisions are final.
Jackie will change his mind for about $1.25, believe me. In fact, he needs that money to spend on the Midway.
Let's take a look at the grid here for heat number 3. There he is, the Derby King, Tommy Chivers. Matt Bradley rides a 58 Mercury out of Woodland, California. In the 11 car, Rick Roberts, 13 years in the demos, and Billy Gregory, they call him Pee-wee, in the 17 car. Doug Holtz here today, owns the auto dismantling business, right place at the right time. Travis Deitch, hey, I don't write him, I just read him. Frank Gonzalez in the 26 car, and Johnny Woods with a 64 Mercury and a big block Cadillac for power. John Cavazos in the 74 Caprice, and Jason Atkins in a 74 T-Bird. Dean Clark will be running here in the 45 car, and Rich Bradley rides with the number 48 out of Nevada. Mike Olmstead, the North Valley Auto Records entry, and Jimmy Bickley hoping to win. This is his first start. Mike Abel, always on the logs, they call him. He hopes he's not there today. And the Wolfman, Ralph Garcia. Mike Slaney in the 68 car here, and Kelly Lampy, that's the old redhead, or probably the new redhead. That's the Nebraska Invader. Roger Raley in 76, Kenny Mosley in a 56 DeSoto from Yuba City, and Mike Bachmeyer, that's the Washington State champion. He's rounding out this star-studded field.
And here's our in-car, or crash cam. It'll be Rick Roberts in number 11. And let me give you my dark horse. I like Matt Bradley, number 5. We'll see him in a minute. A 58 Mercury station wagon. And I remember in the late 60s, early 70s, they were the Chrysler Imperials of Demolition Derby. Couldn't be beat. Third heat is underway. Just about 12 minutes of what you're looking at right now. 21 cars. Jason Cavazos in the 36 car low. You see a couple of wagons. Oh, big hit right there. Great run as he took a shot. The onboard camera looking to get a whack there or avoid getting one, Steve. Rick Roberts is hunting. He didn't like what he saw. He grabbed reverse. Oh, and he took a shot himself right to the radiator. He didn't need that. Ricky, come on, let's go, boy.
That's the 11 car, the onboard camera, not a station wagon. And again, we are on board here with Rick. 13 years he's been doing this, and he's running right along the berms on the outside.
And you know, Bob, you spend so much time looking over your shoulder. Maybe if you had a rear view mirror, actually a front view mirror mounted by the back window, you can see that stuff coming.
Big field, 21 cars went to the post. A lot of hits right in the center there. They're all bunched up there, though, Steve. Nobody will get enough speed to really have some damage.
And the later you... And there is car number 60D. That's Ralph Garcia, Ralph the Recycler, the Wolfman.
He won the Anderson Derby just a few weeks ago. He is a big-time runner. Would be a surprise if he did not advance to the finals. Right now, he's probably not making a lot of noise vocally, but trying to do it with that race car.
Well, I'll tell you what, I bet he agreed with Wolfman Jack checked out, huh?
Slaney in the 68 car right there. He has won earlier this year 2 derbies and won the title of the most aggressive driver. You just saw the 80 car go by. He's the Washington State champion. And right there is Kelly Lampy. That's the guy we met earlier with that really gorgeous hair. The only guy with hair that actually, well, almost matches the color of the car. Big whack right there.
Yeah, and he's taken some abuse to that knee as well. He's had, as Bobby said, a couple of knee injuries, but he's driving hurt.
Another NWO car for all the wrestling fans. Kelly Lampy is one of the real good finishers. Looking for the win, but right now he'd be happy just to transfer over to the final main event. There's a log jam right down there at the lower part of the screen. A lot of cars not moving early here in the Derby. Jason Atkins in the 40 car kind of searching and trying to stay out of battle, but right there, Roger Whaley, he's the one that we had the studio car to watch. Katie, your boys...
Inadvertently, another competitor whacked him out of his problem.
Shivers in the 2 car was one of the guys that moved out of that jam there, the big Derby King, the runner-up in 96, and surprisingly enough, the 80 car, that's the car out of Washington State. Look at him spin Rick Roberts right around right there, the Sonora runner.
And there, too, that's Tom Chivers. Bobby Gerald, what you got down there?
Well, John Woods actually, in number 32, actually went all the way over this berm, and he made contact with the concrete.
Shivers in number 2 continues the circle, showing
the concrete that separates the track from the stands. He tried to get back out onto the Derby pit, and now he's high-centered. Looks like John Woods is going to be done.
There are 3 team cars with those same colors, no station wagons. That's a 64 Merc. Look at that big hit by the Wolfman. He took an arena shot, Steve, right from one side to the other, and he just about demolished one of his competitors. In remarkably good shape is Garcia.
Oh, yeah, you can't give him that kind of running room or Ralph will just bury you.
Wait a minute. Here's a guy that looks like Wolfman, demos for a living, and he's a closet Barney fan. Go figure. It's not that he's a Barney fan that surprises me. It's a closet start. Look at that. Good run from Rich Roberts, the number 11 car from Sonora. And he, too, got a good start all the way across. And there's that Mercury wagon. That is a big, solid car.
That's it right there. I looked at it earlier. It's got a lot of body rot and frame rust in it. If it'll hold together, it's got a shot at making the finals. And we're going to take you, we'll show you who transfers when we come back for the remainder of heat number 3. Hang in there.
The Demolition Derby man. He's all the wreck one car can stand.
Demolition Determinator, this is not going to be an easy one to see who transfers. Tom Chivers doing a great job with the number 2 car. Also, we're taking a look at Kelly Lampy, and boy, Dutch is just surveying the damage out there. And it is an unusual scene. The number 2 car is Chivers. That's the Derby King. One of the real prohibitive favorites to advance not only to the finals, but to win this thing. And there you see the arithmetic on what he's done. 4-time Western champion. Also demos with the trucks. And he is just making life miserable for the young kid, Travis Deutsch, in the blue kid. Tom, I'm not touching this one, Steve. That's a line for you. How about that? Doug Holt Jr. in the number 19 car, the Ace Auto Records machine. Owns his own auto dismantling shop. 96 Fresno champ. Part of the brother tandem here. And he is not looking good right now.
No, he's not. He's the oldest of the 3 brothers, actually. A lot of drivers out there not looking too good right now. But Tom Chivers, as far as I'm concerned, he's got a lock on the main. It's just a matter of deciding who the other 3 are at this point.
Mike Olmstead, the 51 car, was having a pretty good time of it until he got taken out just a couple of minutes. A Buddy Holly fan. Let's check down with Tim Wilson, who's also a big Buddy Holly fan.
I'm going to start a new segment on the show called Previous Owner Segment. This is Elizabeth Snyder. She was the previous owner of car number 51. Elizabeth, you didn't even know Mike, did you?
Huh?
You don't even know Mike, the driver, do you?
Yeah, I do. He came to my house for a year and a half to buy the car for me for doing this.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $1,400 for it. I put 80,000 miles on it, and I sold it to him for $300.
Well, you saw it in the showroom, and now you're going to see it at the funeral home.
Hey, the good thing is when she sold it, she only had 3 payments left on it. And that car is still doing well. That's the one right there, the 51 car we were talking about. Kelly Lampy's got big problems. But look at the Wolfman, Garcia, taking a couple of whacks here. But, Steve, he is in remarkably good shape. There's Chivers, and the 5 car is Matt Bradley with that 58 Mercury. Still doing a great job. Garcia is doing a wonderful job piling up the points.
And did you see that Merc chase him down like it was a dog? But Garcia suffered very little damage in that. It was just kind of almost a little love affair going down there.
One of Dutch Holland's team derbies. The Mercury still sitting there now. There's Lampy. That's the guy here. Feels like my career here. Talk about spinning your wheels. Now, he needs the same thing that Doyle did in Heat 1. Needs somebody to come over and take the dog out of trouble right there. Love the fire suit, Steve. If Tim Wilson ran a demo derby car, that would be his fire suit. Look at him waving the guys on, saying, come on, hit me. Get me out of this stuff. Tom Chivers in the 2 car right there may have ended his round. Mike Backmeyer, the Washington State champion, a great job right here with that 2-door, 4,400-pound car, wanting to show the California and Nevada boys how it's done.
And he's not stupid. The television camera can very easily find that great big number 80 on the roof of that automobile, as can we.
Mike Abel with a love tap there. That is his own business there, the Cowpack Milling team. He says he is always on the logs. 7th Derby, bid him money a couple of times right here.
How about Chivers?
He just waltzed right around Chivers.
Yeah, Chivers has got his nose stuck maybe where it didn't belong.
Travis Deutsch doing a surprisingly good job. That is he right there in the 25 car, doing a marvelous job. Young kid, 4th Derby of the year, in it for the fun, hasn't won, but staying out of trouble, and he gets taken out right there by Garcia in the 63 car, the Wolfman. But this could be a story right here. Very young kid. The fellow with the cowboy hat, we saw him, whoop, little problem there in the front, Steve. Got to be a technical term, but he's enjoying life.
Yes, he is, from Colderville, California. Kind of a bumpy ride right now. That front end would be tough to repair, and it's getting worse by the second.
And look at the guys right out the middle. Chivers doesn't look like he's going to be able to pile up some points. The 80 car Backmeyer, he's got some trouble. And that Mercury is still running.
This looks like one of those scenes after the accident of the Valley Fog they have on Highway 5 up near Sacramento, not too far from here every year, where there's like 200 cars involved in one giant deal.
Or rush hour, the New York City cab driver said. They get paid for this? Hey, let's get down to Bobby Gerald. Who you with, Bob?
I'm with Ramon Herrera. He's a crew member for Ralph Garcia in the 63. How's Ralph doing so far?
He's doing great. He's getting a lot of points, a lot of good hits.
Let me ask you this. Being as environmentally conscious as he is, does he make you recycle your cans?
Yes, he does.
That's right. If you're in the pits with Ralph Garcia, remember to save those aluminum cans.
Just don't let Tim Wilson loose in asking people about their cans. Garcia with a monster hit right there. He's going to really try to make life tough for Bradley. That's the 5 car that he just took out right there. Matt Bradley in that 58 Merc, and Garcia, I think he's a lead pipe cinch, Steve, to advance as we take a look at Jason Atkins in that 74 T-Bird. Neat little paint job on that car with a 460 Ford big motor.
Yeah, but it was painted almost like modern art, where they just splashed different colors of paint onto a canvas. Actually turned out pretty good. I like my dark horse. I tell you, Matt Bradley, my old 58 Lincoln, or Mercury rather, wagon just might have a shot.
Bradley.
There's Matt.
Yep, doing a wonderful, wonderful job. You know, I read this when they told us he was starting this stuff at 4 years old, and he hasn't looked back. He loved the construction of this big Mercury, and they were really big wide bodies in the early going. Garcia right there, still making some hits, just taking out anybody that gets in his way as he just kind of rubbed out his crew member, kind of taking a look out there and going, that's my boy. And he's really whacking Travis Deutsch, and I think Travis looking to call this puppy off. 2 more minutes, look like the signal there, or hit 2 more guys, or the victory sign. Garcia doing a wonderful job. Jason Cavazos was the latest victim right there in the 36 car.
And some of the drivers now appear to be kind of casual about things, as if, hey, look, we've done all the damage we can do to ourselves and others, but apparently there's a little time left here. We haven't seen the Determinator Dutch Holland call a halt to this war here.
Garcia said the key here, keep your head on. He's going to take a couple of little whacks right there.
It's over.
But Dutch Holland and the Demolition Determinator says time is up. I mean, if Garcia didn't win this one, it'll be one of the biggest upsets in demo history, and I'm sure we could all wrap down and line up all those other great big upsets in demo derby history. We'll find out if indeed it was the Wolfman advancing. Stick around. Motor Madness coming back to Nevada.
He's a demolition derby man. He's all the wreck one car can stand. And every woman here is a Bondo fan.
80 lanes. Some of the biggest tournaments in the world are held on that hardwood. And we're back for more Western States Smash-a-Thon, Bob Price.
They just beat the tar out of him. How about the kid? Travis Deutsch makes the cut. Mike Abel sneaks in the 60 car. And the 2 guys that really no surprise, the wagon, Matt Bradley in the 5 car, and the Wolfman, Ralph Garcia. He's going to recycle that piece as he'll take that into the championship round coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. Let's see if Ralph is standing by down there. Bobby G's with the winner.
That is right, Bob. And just like the bunny, he just kept going and going. Ralph, you were the only one that was still going there at the end. You surprised yourself?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, ran real good. Got no complaints. From what they tell me, the car looks good. So looking good for the main tonight.
All right, Ralph Garcia is confident. He's definitely going to be a player in that feature.
There he is, as he really did put some big-time hits on there, and the car is in remarkably good shape. He's got to be the odds-on favorite going into that championship coming up a little bit later on. Can't say the same for the old boys T-Bird right there as they got taken out. There you go. Hey, the signs we were looking for earlier, the good folks in Victor's Lane. Nice. Thanks to the guys from B&M Racing and Performance Products and all the nice folks down in Florida from Crane Cams. And we appreciate all their help during the year here on the Demo Derbies. Lots of stuff going to the guys that win here at the Western States Smash-a-Thon here in Reno, Nevada. More coming up.
It's the studio here in Charlotte. Friday night, Katie Haas and Steve Burns here, and we got this show under control.
You do.
We're going to get there anyway. We, of course, had an expert with us earlier, John Purvis out here checking us out and having a big time. And we've got another one coming up for you. This is the guy that's been doing it for 15 years from Macy, Indiana. Which one of those?
Larry Stat.
He's here, Larry Stats. One of those cars was yours, Larry. Which one? I missed it.
Yellow wagon. Oh, that yellow wagon.
Yeah, that's right. Which one? Was it a Chrysler?
No.
Oh, sorry. Well, what was it?
Wagon.
It was a Buick? I thought you were into GMs and Chryslers and all that.
Buick is a GM.
Well, okay, fine. I'm not going to get picky with you. I can tell you're kind of touchy.
Larry, we've been told about a little story, a little problem you had in the Demo Derby when you lost your pants.
What?
What happened there, big guy?
Who'd you call?
Nobody? No.
We do a lot of research here.
Yeah, we asked him what his funniest Demo Derby story was. He gave us some boring thing about he kept starting his engine when the guy was trying to make some intros, but we wanted the good stuff. So what's the story?
You're turning red there, Larry.
I was
and I hate your shirt.
At the Hoosier Dome, or the RCA Dome this spring.
Yes.
And I was in a Buick Electra, and it had real plush seats on it.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I had the seat all the way back.
Uh-huh.
To go, I had to scoot up to push the gas.
Okay.
And then when I go back and hit, I'd slide back. Well, my pants would stay on the seat. And they had this rule that if you took your seatbelt off at all, you was disqualified.
Uh-huh.
But I finally had a fire, and I'm reaching between the seatbelts trying to get my pants back. And I did get it back up.
Well, yeah, you just have to wonder for the rest of your life how we found out that story.
Yeah, I told my wife.
No, we don't know your wife. You're married?
Did you win the heat?
No. No, wait a minute. I got third at that one.
Oh, good. That's what you got at the Dixie Crash Fest, which I guess got you into the intergalactic smash-up. It's going to be taking place in October, right?
Yeah.
You have a special car picked out for that?
I've got a 75 Impala unless I find a wagon.
That's what you want is a wagon.
Yeah.
Well, how do you have a, what distinguishes a good run, a good, I mean, doing it right and doing it wrong when you're in a demo derby?
Using your head.
What?
Using your head.
Well, I know, but I mean, what does that mean exactly? You're not going to give away...
Choosing your spots to hit the people.
And you have to be aggressive, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be a good dancer.
Oh, I guess so.
That's what I hear. We hear Larry is a darn good dancer. Show us on the telestrator then, if you can give us a graphic description of what we see here and what demonstrate a good hit for us. And you're gonna do it this time.
Okay.
A good hit.
Right.
Oh, we're going to do ones to watch instead?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to do this telestrator.
We'll do telestrator next time.
All right, well, sorry. We teased you up for that, and now boy, what a letdown. All right, let's go out there. We're going to go get ready for heat number 4, and I'm going to go with number 7. But don't pay any attention to what I say because it doesn't do any good. This is Tom Indrieri. He's a 10-year veteran. He's into restoring old cars. He's going to be running a 73 Lincoln Mark IV. Big car for a big guy. Go, Tom.
And I think I'm going to go with, number 16. There he is, Rick Sinfellow. You know, his brother's out there racing. He went to the main in '96 in the Western States Championship. Again, as Steve Evans said, I like to go with the dark horses, so...
Maybe that's what that is. Well, all right, guys, take a look at these, folks, because you will be meeting them in October when you do the intergalactic smash-up. Here we go. Back to Reno.
Katie has a problem with anyone about 3 or 4 syllables there, huh?
They're getting set to yank some of those cars off. That was a great demo, that number 3, and they're still getting some of those cars out of the way.
And you know, you pick the winner, which is really hard to do because we do this off of a monitor. We don't necessarily get to see the whole field, and that was very good of you, Fry. That was real good.
Well, it's a gift, you know. As you take a look at Tim Palacios, last year finished second in the finals. Big-time runner in the 36 car. What a magnificent time he had last year. He wants to just transfer right here. He'd be happy running. He definitely bears some watching with the TNN car. Don't you think so, Bobby G?
I definitely think so. But I want to talk to you about Mike Nelson, who has the car that has won the prettiest car in the pits. He's got blue and purple. He's got flames. He's got scallops. He's got a little bit of everything on this car. And, Mike, do you get credit for this paint job?
Oh, no. Otto Smith.
And did you have any input on it?
I told him, as long as it ain't pink, I don't care what you call it.
Nice job. What about this upcoming heat race?
Hey, speaking of paint jobs, this one right here wins it. Look at this, folks. The Do Crunch. Number 24, if you're a Jeff Gordon fan or even an anti-Jeff Gordon fan and want to see his car get smashed up, this is going to be the one to watch. Bob Sperling, you just now got to the Derby?
Yes, we did. We broke down on the way here, lost the solenoid on the starter, and then we nursed a slipping transmission all the way here.
Man, how long did it take you to paint this thing?
Oh, about 2 days.
Are you a Jeff Gordon fan or a Jeff Gordon hater?
I'm a Jeff Gordon fan. Actually, I'm going to take all the hits for him for the rest of the year.
Well, we'll see, Bob.
Going to be very interesting. That's the second Jeff Gordon car we've had. Notice the flames going backwards.
I think that was one of the reasons Dutch Holland picked that car. You spend all your time going backwards. Shouldn't the flames be going backwards? For Mike Nelson, who won $100 and a nice little trophy. You know, our staff and crew likes to get over to the State Fair. This is Morgan Mullen, our coordinating producer, on-site producer. And Morgan thought he'd like to ride one of those bulls. Morgan has now changed his mind and retired.
Populated state in the Union. And I know you're sitting there at home saying, Tim, I wonder how come that is. Well, folks, I think I figured it out. At the Nevada State Fair, this qualifies as a petting zoo. Good kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Good kitty. You're not a golfer, are you?
Well, Atlanta now has one less resident because Tim decided he'd stick his head inside that cage and give the kitty a little kiss. And now he's, well, it should be an interesting night, as Tim is now just a backseat driver. You know, number 13, Brad Carlson, is a man all the Demolition Derby competitors really go after, but not just during a heat on the track. Brad sought after for his expertise because he's one of the most knowledgeable and respected Demo Derby car builders on the circuit today.
I I've built over 200 demolition derby cars. Last year, you might have seen a moose car driven by Jack Kennedy that took third place. A lot of people thought it was the moose horns that made him do so well. But he knows with the techniques used on the drivetrain, I'll take you inside and show you, as long as you promise not to show this on television. Okay. One of the first things we do is go from a 12-volt battery system to 24. This allows the car to start right back up when it's hot. However, this is extremely dangerous and should not be used on your car at home. The second thing we do is go from a standard column shift down to a direct link floor shift on the automatic transmission. This allows the vehicle to be impacted as hard as it wants and not brake. The other thing we do is install a cooler bypass hose right up close on the transmission. This eliminates the oil from going up to the radiator and back and causes less of a risk of fire during impact. Now we come to the engine, and as you know, in Demolition Derby, everything is about keeping cool. You might want to start by installing a larger fan other than the stock one it comes with. One of the other simple techniques used is by removing the thermostat and installing a simple reducer washer. And last but not least is the carburetor. We want to go from this big 4-barrel that catches on fire back to a simple basic 2-barrel design. The reason for this is, in Demolition Derby, horsepower is nothing, reliability is everything. So now you know the secret to winning a Demolition Derby is a good drivetrain. But you also need a really good driver.
No, we wouldn't show that on TV, would we, Bobby? Huh? Your secrets are safe with us.
Yep. He's got that look. I don't think I want to get mad at him or get him mad at me either. Great crowd on hand, and here's where they're lined up. This is a star-studded lineup.
Oh, boy.
It's Tim Palacios and Tom Andreary. He'll also be going at it in this heat. In the number 12 car, it's going to be Mike Nelson. Here with his wife, Debbie, said, please say hi to Katie. Hey, I haven't got time to do that. Brad Carlson in the 13 car. Rick Sinfellow, 15 years. He's been doing this. And RJ, I'm no relation to Katie, in the number 18 car. Doug Crunch, you saw him in the 24 spot. That is Bobby Sperling. And Phil Brown driving for Jimmy Kuzak in the 27 car because Jimmy broke his arm. Number 33, it's Terry Cleve out of Nevada, and Mike Mueller, 33-year-old mechanic, in his third Derby. Number 41 with a 74 Chevy, the auto wrecking yard operator with a big block, Dwight Medic, and it's going to be Eric Trash Can Williams. You'll see more about that in the 42 hole. Speedy Leach drives the number 47 car out of Silver Springs, and Kelvin Elbert with a 1959 Ford with a Chrysler engine. A lot of them out there. John Falley in the number 52 car with a Mark IV. Ken Staggs out of Reno. In the number 59 car, Mark Rankin with a Cadillac, a 6-year veteran. And it's Norm Woodrow in the 76 Dodge. Randy Skinner, number 71, rounds out your field in the fourth and final heat. Let's go down courtside to Bobby Gerald.
Courtside, Derby side, somewhere. Here's Jim Kuzak, who has the cast on his arm. Now, you were supposed to race in this, and how'd you break your arm, man?
I broke my arm at work on a forklift, so Phil Brown's driving the cycle car tonight.
Are you bummed?
Yes, I am.
Disappointment on his face. He'd like to be out there smashing and crashing, but you can't do that with a broken arm.
There's the Crunch car, the 24 machine, as they line them up. Mark Rankin and that Cadillac in number 59. They are loaded here. There's the Red Line oil car. That's Randy Skinner, 36 years old. Muffler shop owner, been doing this here. The Demolition Determinator getting set to send him into battle. And, Steve, we should mention, cars in the fourth heat have the least amount of time to get their babies ready for that final.
I tell you, it was funny in the drivers' meeting. Dutch Holland was in there with his bullhorn and everybody paying attention. Dutch Holland says, he said, along with my TNN friends, he said, I had a good night on the crap table last night, so I've decided to select the best appearing car. He did, and right there, handed the guy the trophy and the $100. The guy went, hey, thanks, Dutch.
It's a good thing he didn't lose. What would they be doing, repoing some of those paint jobs?
Everybody paid another $100.
Got a couple of the guys here that painted their cars last night. The guy, the number 5 car that we just saw in the last heat, built the car yesterday, painted it last night. Some of these were actually spray painting them. There's the trash can we talked about right in the center of the screen. He has got an actual, honest-to-goodness trash can bolted to the roof. Steve, is that going to make it the distance?
The trash can might, but I doubt the lid will.
And man, what a hit! Right out of the box, trash can man. Eric Williams with a monster move. An arena shot from one side to the other. Mark Rankin in the 59 car. That's the Cadillac out of Sun Valley. And look at Kevin Elbert in that 59 Ford running backwards. Sounded like the poster boy for the Bondo Jones car.
59 car taking another one of those, as you call it, arena shots. That's Mark Rankin from Sun Valley, which is just a few miles away. And here is our crash cam, Tim Palacios, Vacaville, California, over between Sacramento and San Francisco.
Trying to face the trash can man. Palacios, a big hitter. I would have to think he's got a good chance to advance. In Dreary, right there, the 7 car, looking at him, he's got a good chance to advance. Now, we're going to watch again on the start a very big hit. Watch this.
This is right at the start.
Man, that's what you want to do. Take the other guy out before he even hits the gas. There's the Palacios car, number 33, the skull and crossbones and TNN on the logo. That's kind of like a mismatch. It's like the piano player's Porsche. A part-time librarian.
And a part-time library, apparently.
Big runner. So they got a lot of cars here. The 16 car, Rick Sinfellow, and a big smash up there. There's the 50 car, Kevin Elber in that 59 Ford. Here you go, on board. Oh, watch this.
Tim's going after him. Oh, this is going to hurt. Oh, baby.
Oh, the other guy took it. Look at that, the crunch. 24 cars comes in.
Bob Sperling from California, Rancho Cordova. He saw the damage Palacios has done and decided to have some fun, too.
And survived it. The 27 car right there is Phil Brown. Watch it on the replay, that last big hit from the in-car. Oh, man. The other guy took it. Look at that.
And there's 24, interstage right, Bob Sperling.
The 71 Red Line oil car. And here comes the 59 machine. Love that car. The Cadillac, 6-year veteran, the Sun Valley runner. And he is really whacking on these big wide-body wagons.
Remember at the top of the show, I said we are back in the home of the heavy hitters.
Oh,
there it is. 59 just hangs up 24. Mark Rankin. That could have been a crucial blow to Bob Sperling.
Yep, took out the crunch right there. There you see them. They're both locked up. And it looks like Phil Brown, who is driving for the injured Jimmy Kruzak, to stay alive. There's a neat paint job. Don't know how they missed that one in the best appearing. John Falley and the Lincoln Mark IV.
Bob Sperling got back underway in that 24 car.
Crash can car is staying alive. John Falley staying alive. A couple of our boys locked up there. DeCrunch is still in there. Our crash cam is still in there. Dwight Medic, number 41, has been staying out of trouble. That 74 Chevrolet finished 4th in his heat. Oh, man. Wow, they are just demolishing the Jeff Gordon lookalike.
The 24 car has taken more hits, but as long as the rear end stays in it, he keeps moving. But I don't think it did this time.
Somewhere down there in the Carolinas, the guy with the number 3 hat saying, that's the way to do it. Take out that 24.
Rusty Wallace. This is Bristol this weekend.
Oh, wow. Tim Palacios, he's got our in-car camera. He is still doing a wonderful job trying to take out the 42 car, the trash can man, and he's just running backwards over anybody that gets in his way.
And the drivers that qualify out of the 4th heat have less time than any of their fellow competitors in the main event to get ready, but I don't think that's in anybody's mind right now. Palacios, he's just hunting for something to hit.
He finished 5th last year and wants to make amends. And here comes the trash can, taking out the Red Line oil car, and he gets bumped by that Lincoln Mark.
And keeping the lid on it to boot.
Brad Carlson's the 13X car right there. That's the Dixon Auto Parts machine. Quietly staying alive. He is a 10-time California state champion. They got some problems right there. The 37 car, Mike Mueller, the mechanic, has got big trouble. And there's our guy with the flame on both ends of the race car. Coming out the exhaust and out the back of the race car. And Steve, he looks like he's remarkably in good condition.
And judging by the fire out of the pipes, and the hit he just took, I'd say he's jumped the timing chain.
Rick Sinfellow's doing a pretty good job right there. There's some cars that are doing a wonderful job. We'll find out who stays alive, who advances to the main when we come back to Nevada next.
With the gas floor, then you get the dashboard. There goes your bumper. Better get the wrecker warm. You feel like an Iraqi in the desert storm.
Board, you might not want to be, but you're on board with Tim Palacios and the crash cam. He was taking some whack right there. There he is. That's the number 3 car. There were some big hits. The Crunch car 24, dead in the water. 52, John Falley, who has raced in 1 Derby and 1 win, and is back here in his second. Had some monster hits while we were away.
The 24 car, Bob Sperling, he had to wave off. He just couldn't take any more hits. A little bit of a fire out there. Fire out of some of the pipes where the distributors have come apart internally, and the spark isn't going to the right spark plugs.
There's Dwight Medic. 20-year veteran. He made it to the finals last year, and they might have red flagged us down there because I don't believe the time limit was up. They're going to go down and take a look at Kenny Staggs in the 57 car right out in the middle, as we've been very fire-free, unlike what we saw up at the Erie County Fair. But they're going to spray down that 57 car. That's the Reno, Nevada winner, the Sign Wizard.
A lot of those small cars we saw at the Erie County Fair, Ken Staggs can tell you this is true. They use a different fuel system. They were later model cars that have the fuel pumps within the gas tanks, and that was something that was expected and certainly had enough firemen on hand to put them out, about 1,800 of them.
Well, the good news is they put out Ken Staggs right there, but he's not going to do much. Sinfeller and Carlson with the 13 car. There we go. That's Dwight Medic in the 41 car. Bobby, it looks like a mess from our vantage point.
Thing is, if Dwight Medic doesn't win this, there's no justice in the world. He has been absolutely crushing people in this heat race. We haven't seen hits like he's been putting on since Vic Whaley early in the year, I believe, at Orlando. Dwight Medic has been awesome in the 41.
Well, I tell you, he's almost driving a roadster here. The roof's about to come off of that old wagon.
But that is the least of his problems. Look at Palacios, the number 3 car. He is still doing a wonderful job and making a lot of hits and moving real well. Here you go now. Just search and destroy. Come on, Timmy. Don't fail us now.
Oh, and that was a hit that scored very nicely against Rick Sinfellow.
Yeah, and Sinfellow's probably going to advance if he can keep that thing running a little bit. It's one of the few non-wagons in this heat. Right there's Palacios and the 24-car crunch. He's done. The Red Line Oil car still doing well. That's the 71, and, man, another big hit by Dwight Medic. That's Bobby Gerald's pick to advance it into the finals. There are a surprising amount of cars running still, Steve, as we look again on board that are not station wagons.
Well, I'm going to... I tell you, I think that 41 car of Dwight Medic is going to go to the final as well, and that 3 car of Palacios. I think that's a given.
I like the trash can man. He's doing good. You're again looking on board. Here we go. He can take another good shot for us. Here goes. Oh. Boy, that looked like it hurt. Isn't that what Bondo Jones said? That was the trash can car that he hit. He's then taking aim at Tommy Dreary. I don't think Dreary's going to make it. He was a pick. Randy Skinner, the 71 car. As we take a look, still Dwight Medic. I got to agree with Bobby Gerald. Watch this. Here comes number 3. Look at that. Palacios just drilled Mark Rankin. Now, Randy Skinner coming back from that retirement. He has done a wonderful job. First time back in a couple of years, and I believe that Skinner in the red line car is going to go to the finals.
I think you're right. I think Bobby's right with Dwight Medic. I think we're all right with Tim Palacios. But we're not the judges.
Our best appearing car right there, number 12, is also still moving. This is going to be the hardest one to score, Steve, because there are a lot of cars that are making some big hits. The trash can car is good. Our best appearing right there, Mike Nelson, is still in. No matter which way the flames are going, I thought he was dead in the water a while ago. Palacios and the 3 cars looking good. The red line oil car is doing good. Here comes Timmy. Watch it. Oh, man. He took Brad Carlson right out of there.
I'll tell you the problem with the 24 car, some of them just don't have enough muscle left, their best appearing car, rather number 12, to really inflict any damage. And even though they make contact, it doesn't score. Let's have another look at this. Oh, you're a chiropractor. You're going to love this.
The 59 car stuck Rankin with that Cadillac. He was making some good hits. A lot of damage to back. He's stuck there, and we're going to take a look again. Boy, I'll tell you, Randy Skinner, jamming is the only word that I can think of. Palacios takes a monster hit right there from Sinfellow and Carlson. They both took him out. Doesn't look like he's got any problems to me, Steve.
No, you saw him reach down and use that direct shifter that we talked about in that piece.
Here comes
it out of reverse. He's going to take a hit in the right door.
Actually, Palacios in the 3 car was taken out before he got to him. Oh, man, the onboard camera really paying for itself right here. There you go. You are on board. He's going to look to take dead aim at somebody.
Boy, he's doing a lot of hitting with that front end. I don't wonder about that.
Well, the trash can car is still good. I like Brad Carlson. There is Tim Palacios. And there aren't a whole lot of moving bodies out there. And we're going to get another red flag. They're going to go out. Believe it or not, the poor guy, Kenny Staggs, who took the hit earlier and was dead in the water. And they're going to go out and check him again. I mean, he can catch fire twice and wasn't even bothering anybody.
And I would tell you, this kind of hitting at this kind of speed, it's a tribute to Dutch Holland and his organization. There's Dutch right on cue. Thank you, Truck. He makes these cars build safe cars. He just doesn't let them knock the glass out of them. They got to move the gas tanks. They've got to move the batteries. They got to change things down. They've got to make these cars safe. They can put on a good show for the fans and their own families. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah, the boy's gonna snipe you, they're gonna sideswipe you. Better call Prudential, they're peeling you off the wall. You're gonna need a differential and a Tylenol. Hey, you ain't gonna believe it. You're not gonna believe who's here. I cannot believe these guys are here. When it comes to Demolition Derby, these guys are my idols. Come on, hurry up, come here. Vince, Tim Wilson, Demolition Derby Showdown. How are you, sir? Larry, Tim Wilson, Demolition Derby Showdown. Move out of the way, little girl. I'm gonna get a picture with you guys. Hey, when it comes to crashing, you guys are the greatest. Okay, can you smile on this one? Could you sign my hand?
Mr. PR, get out of here, little girl. That's that warm and fuzzy Tim Wilson.
Oh,
it was like, which one of these doesn't belong? Or which one of these doesn't belong? Here you go. Foley in the 52 car. Randy Skinner, you up to 71. Tim Palacios advances, and Dwight Medic in the number 41 car makes the finals. And the trash can car did not make the final cut, but congratulations to Dwight Medic. Bobby's pick. Yo, Bob.
This is the man right here, Dwight Medic. Now, his car's a little shorter than it was when he started out, but it's all good, right, Dwight? You're going on to the finals, and I guess the main question would be, are you going to have enough time to get this thing ready, because you don't have much time?
Yeah, I got a good crew. We'll put her all back together, and we'll be out here in the main.
Was it your strategy to build up as much speed as you possibly could when you hit?
Yeah, you only got 8 minutes between the fourth heat and the main. If you don't make it, you just got to go balls out and get it.
He said it. It's cable. We'll live with it. Tim?
The warm and fuzzy, Tim Wilson. I'm here with the crew chief for number 13, Brad Carlson, Kevin Lewis. Kevin, you have something to say here.
Yeah, I do. I've been waiting a long time for this day to come so I could ask you a question. You're a beautiful person inside and out, and you make me feel the same way. I see you in my future, and I love you very much. I want you to be a part of my life forever. I want us to be together forever. You marry me?
Yeah, honey, I will.
Amy Smithson is going to marry Kevin Lewis. Look at that. I like that kiss. Can I get one of those, Amy? Congratulations.
It's funny, when he started out talking, I thought he was talking to Tim.
All right, we got the main event coming up in about 8 or 10 minutes. We just had a wonderful moment here. Katie Haas, very romantic. In fact, they're making it even more.
They're
Stop
making
that.
out.
Yikes.
Hey, it's cable. Don't worry. Get a room. Wow, she had to put the ring on herself. Did you notice that?
We've had Tim Wilson belly dancing.
Oh, don't remind
an
me.
Engagement and sumo suits later on.
Yeah, boy, this show is jam-packed with stimulation. But we also have a little bit of news here about Miller Lite news here. It's really
Hi,
cool
Sarah.
stuff. Yeah, it's very nice. He spends way too much time on it.
Too much chill.
Yeah, but we got our guys here. We've got John Purvis out here, our experts in Demo Derby. And, of course, this guy who's giving me a lot of trouble told me to go get him some coffee a minute ago.
That went over big, didn't it?
Larry Stats hanging out with us. So tell us some of your secrets, guys. What kind of modifications do you make on the cars to keep them holding together? Can you tell us these
Exactly. I'm amazed. We've seen some really big hits tonight. That amazes me.
And they can pound them back out, make them run again.
You got to weld the doors good. You got to build a good set of leaf springs if you run a leaf sprung car. You got to pick a good car. You don't want a rusty car. Pretty solid car.
Yeah, sure.
It helps a lot.
I bet. Anything you want to add to that, Larry? Yeah, come on now.
Well, you can bend, already pre-bend stuff, so it makes it stronger, too.
What do you mean you pre-bend it?
You cheat.
Oh, you got to cheat it up, don't you?
Have you heard of this?
No, never heard of it.
What?
Never heard of it.
You guys are making this up. So you pre-bend it, so the impact is not as strong, or...
So they'll bend in different places than what they're not supposed to.
I see.
Oh, in other words, you're trying not to reveal your trade secrets.
Yeah, I guess.
Very secretive guy. I understand your daughter is your crew chief, or your daughter takes part of... You have 4 kids, don't you?
Yeah.
They all participate?
3.
3 of them do?
Yeah.
In what capacity? What do they do?
They drive.
They drive?
Yeah. I work on the cars.
You actually compete?
Yeah.
With them? That's pretty amazing. They all guys?
No, 2 of them's daughters.
No kidding. That's amazing. I heard that you let your daughters go out and buy your cars because nobody is going to sell their car to you.
Sometimes they don't.
Why is that?
Because they don't want to get them tore up in the Derby.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I mean, if I had an old junky car just sitting there and get $300, I don't care what you do with it. Give me the money and take it. It's yours.
And some people are that way.
Hey, John, I was curious. You said that you hadn't run that many races this year. Are you cutting down on purpose, or?
No, I got a lot going on. I'm trying to build a garage and stuff at my house, and just slowing down a little bit, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah.
You going to keep doing it? I mean, you want to keep...
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it a couple more years.
Until what?
Yeah, until what?
I don't know. I guess I'll know when that time comes.
You're pretty calm about his future, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll know when to hang it up.
Well, that's cool. What do you think about the action tonight? What are we seeing tonight? Are we seeing some good, aggressive driving out there?
Yeah, they're tearing their cars up a lot.
Bad? They're not doing a good job? What do you think?
Oh, they're doing a real good job. They're just getting too aggressive. They all want to go to the intergalactic crunch off, I think.
I see. They're trying to win the race in the first lap.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. Well, thanks, guys. We really appreciate your expert insight there, don't we? All right. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Stick around for the sumo wrestling, boy. We better watch out.
And the big show coming up.
We're back. We're only the main event remains at the Western States Smash-a-Thon. And I'll tell you what, if you can't cut and weld, don't even bother getting involved in this sport. You know, Tim Wilson absolutely loves Reno. In fact, we're having a hard time keeping track of him. Tim, where are you?
I think, no, this ain't the spot. I think right over here is going to be our spot. Is this the spot? Yep, this is it. This is going to be the one right here. Glad I got here early. This is where the action's at. This is going to be a great weekend. House at the Reno Grand Prix. Make plans now and be like me. Get here early.
Tim's right. There isn't a bad seat in the House B in Reno for the final Trans Am of 1997. Will Tom Kendall historically sweep the entire series from race 1 to the final in Reno. Don't miss it. It'll be right here. That is Tom Kendall, the man that may get it done at the Reno Hilton Grand Prix in the Roush Mustangs of October 17th to the 19th. I'm going to be here. I guarantee it. Marty Mabry, our lead cameraman, and I think that's his kid up there, right there on the end. Hey there. Hey there. Wave at your dad's camera. That'll, boy. That'll make Mom proud at home. You know, at the top of this segment, top of the show, we talked about this wonderful event in Canada, Bob Fry. It is called the Bash for Cash, and they don't just have Demolition Derby.
They got a little bit of everything coming up, and it's going to be great now. They have that rollover competition. I mean, guys are rolling over 4.5 times. It's virtually unbelievable what they do.
They call all of this mahui. That's a Canadian word for other stuff. And look at this. They call that the triple. You got to knock the car out from in the middle. Unbelievable.
It looks like a lot of mahui, but it looks like a lot of great fun. And, of course, they're going to be bringing that team down for a little competition here in the States after they whooped up on our boys a couple of weeks ago.
That's right. Our intergalactic finals will see the Canadian team. Let's go down to Bobby Gerald as they get set for the final.
Well, Ralph Garcia has been working on his car number 63. And, Ralph, you just about got everything done to it that you need to get done for the final. What all did you have to do?
Trim out some metal, just put a little bit of water in the radiator, and everything else looked good, so ready to go.
You watched the rest of those heats. Do you think that you'll have what it takes to get the job done? Because there were some big hits in that final heat.
Yeah, I hope to have. It was pretty hard. I didn't get to see that last one, but I'm looking to, do my job, keep my head on.
Well, just like Steve Evans said, if you can't cut and weld, wrong sport for you. And the Wolfman was doing all kinds of cutting down here, Steve.
Well, he sure was, and right now we can tell you who is going to be in this final here at the Western States Smash-a-Thon.
There's our Heat 1 winner, Jose Ayon and Ken Howlett, also advancing, hoping to make his dad proud here today. We'll take a look at the rest of the grid. David Boyle out of number 74, and Mike Doyle, the big guy, number 1. Mad Mike looking to repeat here his 96 championship. Scott Gallegos, the Beaker, back after a year sitting out. A real surprise, Shelby Sachs, the Yorba City winner, goes to the finals. Phil King, the Washington State champion, and hard-hitting Jimmy Sinfellow in the 15 car. Ralph Garcia, you saw him just a moment ago, the Wolfman, and Matt Bradley bought the car yesterday. That's the Bud's Towing, Adam Towing entry. Mike Abel, number 60, we saw him working on his piece just a moment ago. And it'll be also Tom Indriri, the number 7 car advancing. Dwight Medic, the big hitter. That was Bobby's pick. And Tim Palacios, the number 3 guy. I mean, it is a star-studded lineup as they go into the championship heat. The heat winner was Medic. Randy Skinner in the Red Line Oil car, the Martinez winner. And number 52 quietly snuck into it with that Mark IV. They're the ones that survived, made it into the finals. Well done, those babies. Come back for the big hits in just a moment.
Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by the Silver Legacy Resort and Casino, Reno's only newly remodeled, fully themed resort casino. To experience Reno's finest, call for reservations toll-free 1-800-MUST-SEE. And I have to tell you, Bob Fry, the Silver Legacy is one of the most enjoyable places that I personally have ever stayed, and I think you'd agree.
They're beating on that car. We saw the Brad Carlson fan club in the grandstand just a moment. Bob, you got to be closer than we are to what's going on down there in the pit area. These guys going to make it?
I don't know. This is Dwight Medic, who won the last heat. He was the biggest hitter out there, but unfortunately, he's got to change a tire, and to get to that tire, they need to do a whole lot of cutting. They're running out of time. Dwight, what's the story? Do you think you'll make it?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's going to take probably another 5 minutes to get a tire on there. I hope we got enough time.
Got a small inferno going right now. Is that going to be a problem?
No. If we can get a tire on there, I lost my radiator, but I'm just going to run like it is.
All right, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it or not, but it makes for some exciting pictures here, doesn't it?
Wow, holy flaming tire, Batman. That's one of the reasons that Dutch makes them take those gas tanks out of the back of those cars and relocate a couple of gallons in like a marine outboard container way up front, away from all of this.
That's also the problem with being the 4th heat. You got a little bit of time, but it's just the luck of the draw. Jose Ion, Scott Gallegos, Medic, and Ralph Garcia were the heat winners. Let's go back and see how things are going down with the Sumo crew in Charlotte.
All right, thanks very much, Steve Evans. Now, guys, I don't know. I've been around Winston Cup racing a long time, but how can they get that car back in the show?
They need to cut a bunch more stuff off.
It looks like it. I mean, they're pulling tires off, and they're all fire, and he's going to go back in the big show. I mean, how do you do that, John? I mean, it looks like those things can barely run, and they get them back in.
You got to have a good pit crew. A lot of guys willing to help you beat on your car and change things, and you can get them rolling again.
But you don't have much time to make decisions. I mean,
you got to make quick decisions. Very quick.
What's the worst situation you were ever in and got back in a race?
Probably back at Woodstock, Georgia, when I had my doghouse about tore off my car. And the pit people went with me. They got her straightened out pretty quick.
How about you, Larry? Worst situation, but you got back into a race.
I changed the tranny last weekend in Derby.
You changed the transmission?
Yeah.
Just crawled under and changed the transmission?
No, we turned up on the side.
I mean, that amazes me.
One of the cars we took to Georgia, we took 3 cars.
Okay.
One of them made it to the feature, the other one didn't, and the boys took the rear end out of the one that didn't and put it in the one that did. They switched rear ends.
Well, that's amazing. And speaking of amazing, let's take a look at what you're going to see here in the next couple of weeks on TNN Motor Madness.
TNN?
Next week on TNN Motor Madness.
Big show. Now, all right, you guys have any favorites for the final?
I like the 63X.
Why?
Good aggressive driver.
Yeah.
Picking all the right hits.
How about you, Larry?
I think the same one. His car's still straighter than the others, too.
All right. Well, they got to be straight to win. So there we have the strategy. We're going to go back to the big race in Reno, Nevada, right after these commercial messages. And, Katie will be back, too.
My name is
Western States Smash-a-Thon feature. Dwight Medic still in the pits. They have put on the left rear tire, but they did not get any air into that tire. It was a big-time thrash down here with 4 or 5 crew members trying to get the winner of our 4th heat race into the feature event. I think he is going to make it. Dutch is about ready to go, and it's going to be close whether or not they can get the 41 out into the Derby pit, Steve Evans.
Well, and Bob Fry for Dwight Medic, there's an interesting story, really.
Here's a guy that's been doing this for 20 years, Steve. He builds cars for his kids, for a lot of the other race teams. He knows the luck of the draw. He knew that being in that fourth heat was not the best place to be. He's got the Metro Towing and Auto Dismantling folks and all of his team members out here trying to get him back. They're going to start this thing. I don't think he's going to make the cut, but for a guy that's done this for 2 decades, he knows that sometimes time just runs out. There's Palacios as we get set to go for the final.
Yep, there's the number 3 car, the 63 in Charlotte, and here in this booth, rates a pretty heavy favorite, Ralph Garcia.
Steve, as we look out there, you will not see a lot of non-station wagons. We're going to see as Medic's gang still would love to get him out there, but I do believe the time is just going to run out on Dwight Medic. The car with its back to the camera right there, that's one of the few non-wagons. John Foley in the Mark IV pad, he might be the only non-station wagon here advancing to the championship round. There's some big hitters. There's Garcia, the 63X car, and right there is Palacios going after him in the 3 car.
And there is no holding back now, no pacing yourself. You hit as hard and as often as you possibly can. And it is not necessarily the last car moving. It may turn out to be that way as we go on board with Palacios, but it may just be time.
And I should also say that Darrell Howitt, the dad, got into this final. Look at this. There's 2 of the big hitters right there. Palacios with the onboard right into the Wolfman. And how about Phil King? He's got big troubles. Hung up on the berm, and what a monster hit right there. Mike Doyle, the defending champ, took a whack. There's the Alaskan car sitting right there. There's the Beaker, and oh, baby, are they just nailing each other. And look at the kid, the 25 car, doing a wonderful job.
There must have been several cars that went to the main that couldn't make it because Jack Kennedy with the Moose Antlers was an alternate and got in.
And so is Travis Deitch, who is advanced. That's the kid in the 25 car. He's got a lot of speed, more than we say right there, for those guys who are really jammed up. Jose Ion, the 22 car, was the heat number 1 winner. He's had a lot of time to get ready for the finals. Bobby, what's the story from your vantage point?
Well, it's disappointment for Dwight Medic, who is still back here in the pit. He didn't get a chance to get out there. How disappointing is this?
How does winning feel? Oh, winning.
How disappointing is it?
Oh, it was a little sad not being there, but another 5 minutes and I'd have been out there.
You seem awfully reserved. I thought you'd be a little more upset.
No, I enjoy the sport, you know. If I'm there, okay. If not, you know, next year.
Well, Steve Evans, you talked about it in the open of the show. These guys are out here to have fun. There's a prime example because I think I'd be kind of ticked off.
Hey, life's too short, man. We're out here at the Nevada State Fair to have fun with our friends.
There were big, big smashes. Now watch this. There he is sitting up on the berm, the 75 car. We'll take a look again on replay. Oh, that was nasty. He took a big whack. Mike Doyle right there in the 1 car served up part of it, and he's still sitting there. And there's the Mark IV behind him as Phil King made it here by getting out of the heat 2. The Mark IV is still there. And look, all wagons still in the middle. Big, big hits.
Yep, the 75 car, he's not going to get off that berm unless some friend goes around on the outside, pushes him back in, and that is unlikely.
The 25 car could be the sleeper in the field right there because he's staying out of trouble, and he's got a lot of speed. In the middle, that's Howitt, the 72 car that just got turned right around, and that's Travis Deitch, the number 25 car. Look at that. He's got a picture of himself up on the roof of the car there. Well, looks a little bit like him when he's got his cowboy hat on.
Or Tim Wilson.
Doing a great job, the kid.
Some of these cars are starting to look like the Eastern modifieds we've covered 2 years ago here on TNN. The dirt cars, the flat roofs, sheet metal bodies, and they're almost unrecognizable.
Deitch in as an alternate, and Garcia, the 63 car, and Brad Carlson, the 10.